What's going on, everybody? This is episode 813 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. Speaking of the Atlanta Falcons, they're going to be playing tonight as of this recording. They're going to be playing the Las Vegas Raiders. I guess I'll sit back and watch that train wreck. I love my Falcons, but Jesus Christ. They're going up against the former quarterback Desmond Ridder. And the way that the Falcons been playing this past few weeks, I'm like had it up to here with them. But nevertheless, we're going to talk about the Georgia Southern Eagles, which, these guys here are pretty much on the road. They're still on a winning streak, and hopefully they can beat the, Sam Houston Bearcats. They're going to be playing against them in the RL Carriers New Orleans Bowl, which will be on the 19th of December. Can't wait to see that game, and I'm pretty excited about it. Also, Georgia Southern is favored in this game, which is really, really interesting because I didn't think they would be. But it just goes back to show you how Sam Houston find ways to win games. It doesn't necessarily bode well for the team. Plus, they lost their coach. He's moving on to Temple. So that's a little bit of dicey right there. But hey, even though that we're a touchdown favorite, it doesn't mean that we're going to walk in here and win this game. I just find it interesting that we're the favorites. We're going to talk about that and everything everything under that umbrella. If this is your first time here, welcome. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble. Also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And over there you can listen or watch wherever you want to do on any of these platforms. I think Apple still doesn't have the video side up yet, but nevertheless, if you want to follow me on X is at VF Baller. Over there I talk about things that don't necessarily make it to the show, and kind of mix things up over there with my gaming side of things as well. So let's go ahead and get into this. 9-3 Sam Houston, they're looking pretty good. I was actually surprised that they were 9-3 when we went up against, when we knew that we were going up against them. But it doesn't necessarily put much fear into me personally as a Georgia Southern fan. I do believe Georgia Southern can win this game. It doesn't mean that, I'm just sitting here feeling like 100% confident. I just feel like if Georgia Southern just plays the way they've been playing for the past few weeks, they should be fine. Now, Sam Houston has been finding ways to win games, and they've been keeping games close. One of the reasons why they're not 9-3, but it seems like they're a team that's very opportunistic. They find ways to take advantage of any situation. Give them an inch, they take them out. That's one of the ways you can win games in the FBS. So love the fact that they're able to have that scrappy attitude on the field. As it's really cool to see that, and got to commend them. But when you look at Georgia Southern, even though they're 8-4, should have been 9-3. Hey, could make a you can make an actual case that it should have been 10-2, but that's another story. At 8-4, the last few games that they've been playing is probably some of the best football Georgia Southern has played in a while. We end up winning against a pretty formidable opponents, and we were able to take care of business when we felt like we were stuck at that 6-game mark. Ended up being 8-4. Tried to backdoor into the Sun Belt Championship game. Unfortunately, that was not the case, but overall, still a successful season. Love the way things played out, and I feel like the way Georgia Southern plays ball, if you can get them to play anywhere near like they played against Georgia State, even against Appalachian State, or against South Carolina State, this should be a pretty smooth game for Georgia Southern. Me personally, I feel like this game may be one of those games like when we played against Marshall, or one of those games when we played against Nevada, because we did beat Nevada earlier this year. It seemed like it's going to be one of those type of games, in my opinion, but I do feel like Georgia Southern can prevail and win this game. Last time they was here, they did a very good job beating Louisiana Tech, Louisiana Tech, whichever you want to call them, 38-3. Do I think it's going to be that kind of game? I'm not sure. But one thing I will say, Georgia Southern has a lot of players that stand out, and it's very tough for any defense to defend, whether it be the running game, whether it be the passing game, whether it be J.C. French with his legs. It's a lot to go around with this offense. It's very hard for some defenses to keep up. The main thing is we just got to keep the ball rolling and keep it moving. Sam Houston, they found ways to do the same thing. They move the ball pretty well, and it seems like they were able to do just enough to win their games throughout the season. Like when you look at any players, you don't see much that stand out, but they were able to be successful. You don't become 9-3 just by, walking on the field. You got to put in some work. And this is the thing that I was saying, like, yo, you look at this team, you can't find anything to pinpoint on. So you probably be in a situation where Sam Houston could possibly beat you in various ways. Like I said, here with the predicted matchup, we are favored in this game. We're 6-point favorites. Um, ESPN got us winning this game 60% out of 40, which honestly, this don't mean much anything, but I kind of see what they're trying to do here. JC French, Hudson, I think it's in Hudson. I'm sorry if I got that wrong. Watson, I think I said that wrong. His last name is Watson. 1598, 11 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. French has 16 and 7. He's almost thrown close to double than what he threw. He has more attempts as well. Jalen White does not have the much as rushing yards as Ducker has, but you do have two other running backs, which were something that really run the ball. Derwin Burgess, 53 catches for 603 yards, 3 touchdowns. Evans have 43 for 474. Like I said, it's not much here to really, hang your hat on. But when you do look at these games, the last 5 of Georgia Southern, like I said, they were, done pretty well for themselves, winning the last 3 out of 4. And that Troy game still haunts us, man. That Troy game was pretty tough, but all is well. All is well. We played pretty good down the stretch. You look at Sam Houston, they won 4 out of 5. But look what I said about winning close games. This is what I'm talking about. They beat FIU 10-7. They beat La Tech 9-3. They beat Kennesaw State 23-7. They lose to Jacksonville State. I think they're they just won the conference championship, right? But they did lose to 21-11, and they turn around and beat Liberty 20-18. So this is what I'm talking about: winning close games. These are the type of games that you put together, and it builds character for your team. So one thing you don't want to do is really be in a close game with these guys. You want to get out in front really quick and find ways to win. Like I said, with us, even though that this 34-30 game seems like a game that was pretty close, we had to come back and win that game. So it wasn't necessarily a close game. We just found a way to win that game. Shout out to Dexter Williams. He's no longer on the team. But nevertheless, you look at the last few games, the Troy game was the game that everybody pretty much thought everything fell apart. The last 2 games, the Coastal Carolina game was a dominant win. We didn't allow a touchdown in that one play by DeAndre Morris, which is, he just got finished. He's in the transfer portal now, which is kind of unfortunate, but he was I'm sorry. That wasn't DeAndre Morris. Morris is in the transfer portal, but it wasn't him. I'm sorry about that. Nevertheless, Coastal Carolina did not get a touchdown. We ended up winning 26-6. Then the Appalachian State game, which is 29-20. Don't get it twisted. This game was not that close. It just looked that close, but the game was pretty much dominated for the most part by Georgia Southern. So if we play anyway the way we played these last 2 games, we should be fine. I think we should be fine. I think if anything, if we play like we played against the Troy game, we're going to be in trouble because we could not get the defense off the field. We're not going to talk about the ODU game. So based on the last couple of weeks you see here, you don't see much here when it comes to, what team has actually done, except for, they found ways to win for Georgia Southern. Sam Houston squeaked out a victory against Liberty, and with them losing their coach could be the difference on why, they feel like we are the favorites. I do feel like Georgia Southern has the most talented team. In my opinion, I honestly feel we had the most talented team in the Sun Belt, especially on offense, but, outside of the Boise State game and the Ole Miss game, it was put on display, but you did, wet the bed when it came to Old Dominion and Troy. And those are the 2 games that pretty much cost you. You could have been going on and playing in the Sun Belt title easily if you would have turned those games around. But hey, at the end of the day, it is what it is. I'm looking at this game right here, and I do like our chances here. I do. I'm not saying that they will win, but I do like our chances, because one thing about it, even though when I was watching a little bit Sam Houston, you still don't know like exactly what's going to transpire when it comes on the field. You just don't know. Like I said, I don't see anybody that really stands out for Sam Houston. I mean, you're looking at the numbers, and I saw some, a couple of games, didn't see much. But with Georgia Southern, I do know what we have, and we just need to find a way to distribute the ball around the field. And I think That's when, Georgia Southern's really at their best. If Georgia Southern can get J.C. French standing upright, throwing that ball all over the field, and he throws the ball accurately, the receivers are going to catch the ball. You just got to get it to their hands. I totally trust our receivers. We have some fine receivers, great tight end, good running backs. I feel like if we're able to get the ball to the receivers, we're fine. If we can't get the ball to the receivers, it could be a long day. Even though you have a guy like Jalen White who can run the ball, you don't want to rely on that too much. You want to have a little bit of a balance here. And I think that's what really, got us over in the last couple of games, especially, in the Appalachian State game. It was a lot more balance there, and it really helped us out. So that's pretty much it I have for this episode. Let me know what you guys think. If you like the commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Georgia Southern is going to be favored, man. And I can, the more I think about it, I feel like it's rightfully so. I think Georgia Southern is the better team, but and it should be a victory for Georgia Southern. But hey, you never know. I thought we were better than Old Dominion. You saw how that played out. I felt like we were better than Troy. Saw how that played out. Are we going to get the team that wants to step up and play guys tough out of our conference, or you want to find a team that gets a little lackadaisical and then get on the field and be like, I think we got this. We just gonna slow roll it, and then all of a sudden you're down by 2 or 3 scores. What team's gonna show up? I do have a feeling. I think that Georgia Southern team that is that wants to win will show up, and hopefully we'll be talking about it at the end of the game. It is on 12/19, which is a Thursday, 7 p.m. Hopefully I'll be talking about a victory later on this week. So I'm going to get up out of here. I'm on YouTube and Rumble, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Follow me on X, and I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, y'all. I'm out. Peace.